All right, so we're here with Dad again here, and we got another couple of years. Seems like we can't get past 2 years because there's just too many things going on, which is remarkable when you start reading through these logbooks. So now we're into 1981 and 1982, and this is coming off of the repaired, right engine on the 310?
Well, yeah, I was in the process of overhauling the right engine myself, and so it was about a 9-month project because all the parts had to be machined and this and that. So I was flying a 172 I rented from Walt Rupert for the rest of that summer, which really wasn't that much flying, pretty quiet. And then on September 5th in 1981, I got the 310 back and I made a test flight with the new engine, and it ran great. All things worked, great job. And the only problem I ever had in that overhaul was when Walt Rupert did the mags, and he screwed up somehow, and I had to redo the mags. Other than that, I was ready to go. And then we got back into the 310 and did our normal flying around the place, and over there to Victoria, BC, which reminds me of an instrument approach I made into either Vancouver or Victoria, I can't remember which, is when the air traffic controller noted I was going to make a PAR approach, not a regular instrument approach. A PAR approach is when the controller is going to guide you around with vectors and so forth onto the ILS. And so he vectored me around, and he lined me up with the ILS, and then flying around, and then he said, "You're so how much higher than the glide slope to send 20 feet to get to the glide slope. Oh, no, you're 200 feet below, come back up," and all that. It was kind of fun. It was a kind of approach I used to do into Berlin during the Berlin crisis. So it was my first and only PAR approach, and broke out at about 500 feet. It was great. Good learning experience for that kind of thing. And then we spent a lot of the rest of the summer just dinking around until the end of 81, and then 82 starts out, and in April I decide I've got to get a single engine little airplane so I won't burn so much gas like the 310 does, just to go up and cut holes in the air. So saw a deal. I bought I think it was a 1971 TR2 Grumman, which is a Cheetah, two-place Grumman.
Oh, Grumman AA1.
Yeah, it's AA1A.
Yeah.
Technically called a TA2.
But yeah, just a little 108 horsepower, 100
horsepower even. And paid $5,000 for it, and went over to Redmond, Oregon, and picked it up, got checked out in it, and flew that around a lot, and took Jeff up into that and got him to flying a little bit. Maybe you want to comment about some of your experiences in that Grumman.
Well, Dad's been trying to kill me for years. So let's see, he tried to kill me in sailboats, airplanes, and whitewater rafting, right?
Yeah.
So this was just the third one. So yeah, so I remember you'd come home from work in the summertime, you'd be like, "Okay, Jeffrey, get in the airplane," and then so I was kind of a chicken, But anyway, yeah, I remember the first landing. I remember I was panicky, and I didn't want to do it. And you said, "Well, I guess we're all gonna die then, Jeffrey. We're all gonna die." And so you either grab the controls or we're all dead. And I thought that you weren't gonna grab the controls. So then I grabbed the controls and then listened to what you had to say and landed it. And then after that, we started going up and doing takeoffs and landings and touch and goes, and that was pretty cool. So we did that for that summer. And yeah, I learned a lot. That was a great experience, once I got over my total fear of death.
Well, the Grumman's a great flying airplane. It's very solid on the controls. It's a little bit of a ground lever coming off the ground, a little underpowered when you're full. And but it has a circling nose gear. You just steer with the rudder pedals and stuff. But it's really a great airplane, and I had it for a long time after that. For the year. But then later on in that summer, we were going to go to the Indy 500, and I had a business trip included, so we flew on down, and on the way, after we got out of Pocatello,
and this is still in the 310.
Yeah, this is flying the 310, and we're on our way to, and Charlene needed a potty call very bad. We had to make an emergency landing in Rollins in North Dakota. And then from there we went on into Wichita and then down to Greenville and messed with her family for a while. And then after that I had a business convention in Knoxville and flew up to Knoxville and spent a couple, 3 days there at the convention showing our equipment. We had mining equipment and this and that and the other thing. And then from there we flew up to heading toward Indianapolis to go to the Indianapolis 500, but the weather was so bad and cloudy and I wasn't confident. It was thunderstormy, so we ended up landing at Louisville,
Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky, and drove up, rented a car, went up to the Indy 500. And it was great. We had some friends who took us into where all the drivers were and all that, in the museum and so forth. And so the big day came for the 500, and we decided we wanted to sit on the first corner because that's where all the action was going to be. And so we were sitting there, and we heard the start of the race. All the engines were revving up and screaming and yelling. All of a sudden it got quiet, and nobody came around the corner. And Jeff, what happened?
Well, Kevin Cogan ran into Mario Andretti about 10 feet off the start line, and he was a rookie driver. If you look that up, 1982 Indy 500, it was, Mario Andretti was pretty PO'd about that. So anyway, it knocked those guys out of the race, some other cars out of the race, so sitting on the first corner, we were just right around the first corner so you couldn't see the straightaway, and so it just took forever for any of the cars to go by, but it ended up being the closest finish in the history of the Indianapolis 500 up until later on, but up till that point in the history of the race, and that was Gordon Johncock and Rick Mears, and it was really a really cool race, you know, and it came down to the wire. It was a good experience. But Dad, you got to back up, and when we got stuck in Louisville, Kentucky, if you remember, we were stuck in this FBO with all these other pilots because there was all these folks going to the Indy 500, and the weather was absolutely horrendous. So everybody's crammed into this FBO, airplanes all over the tarmac, and somebody says, "Bob Hope's coming in, Bob Hope's coming in." And everybody's like, "Bob Hope." You remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that. And he came in, I think it was...
in an MU2.
MU2, and landed, and Charlene, of course, loves to see the stars, and she runs out there and says, "Welcome to Louisville, Bob." And he shook her hand. You got that? I got a picture of her.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'll walk and show you the picture because this will be kind of cool for you to see since you guys always look at my dad's face. So let's go. We'll show you a little picture of Bob Hope. Hey Mom, you remember Bob Hope?
I do.
Yeah. So here we go. Bob Hope, Louisville, Kentucky, 1982, in the MU2. And what did you say to him, Mom?
Well, I went up to him on the tarmac, and I extended my hand, and I said, "Welcome to Kentucky, Mr. Hope."
Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, so Louisville.
So you tried to
Kentucky.
pretend you were from Louisville, Kentucky?
I did. I didn't know what to say to him. I just know I wanted to meet him, and it was so cool.
Yeah.
Because he shook my hand. He had on these checkered pants, as you could see.
Oh yeah, no, it's fabulous. Yeah. Yep.
And
there's the
not
checkered
only-
pants or
yeah.
whatever they are.
Not only did he shake my hand, but look at this. Then he put his other hand on. He shook my hand, put his other hand on top of my hand. I was thrilled. See that?
Mm-hmm. Well, you must have been thrilled because of this picture.
Yeah, look at that.
Yep, yep. Anyway, so hey, there you go. What do you think about your crazy grandma, Bryce? Yeah. There's an Air Force guy for you.
Welcome to Louisville, Kentucky, Mr.
He calls it the Chair Force. Okay.
Anyway, so Bob Hope was a very gentlemanly person, and he invited us to go to he's going to a big golf tournament in Louisville, and we declined, and a very nice person. From there we headed out and ended up in Laramie, Wyoming, and the weather was so bad we had to spend the night there before we made it on home, but we made it home. And then spent the rest of the summer flying the Grumman and the Cessna here and there and all that. And
When it looks like here, when you were in Boise, you picked up IFR picked up a ½ inch of ice at 16,000 feet. Instrument descent in there. That was probably pretty thrilling. A ½ inch of ice on a non-booted airplane.
Well, what happened was they canceled IFR, and then I had them descend me to make an approach into not Boise, but an airport near there, and we broke out, maybe 1,500 feet above the ground, and then it flew on the rest of the way into Kentucky. And that was a great trip. And then the rest of the 82, we were just flying the Cessna and the 310 here and there in a local thing. And then, let's see. Yeah, I spent a lot of time flying the Grumman for the rest of 82 and 80 out through the rest of the year. And Jeff got a lot of time in the Grumman too. And so we had a great time. That year, 82 was a great year of flying. And
well, that was right before we moved. And the one thing I can remember, because we're getting ready to leave Olinger and move up to the Seattle area, was there was an airplane, a Tiger, a Grumman Tiger, 4-place Tiger, that I remember just standing out in the yard, and these guys were trying to land, and they landed about 3/4 of the way down the runway, heading towards the trees, heading towards the ditch that the 310 slid into years earlier. And so I watched these guys touch down, and I was watching and watching and watching, and they seemed like they were slowing down, and then all of a sudden the tail just went straight up in the air, and you could tell the plane was in the ditch. And this is a big ditch. This is a ditch that would fit like probably a Volkswagen Bug or something in. I mean, it was a big ditch, and it was probably 5 feet down. So everybody ran over there, all the neighbors and stuff, and there were 4 people, two guys and 2 girls, and my thoughts looking back on it would be that they were in like their either late teens or early 20s, really young, and their eyes were real big, but nothing happened. Nobody got hurt. They probably went in there going like 2 miles an hour. I mean, they just barely, they almost made it. And anyway, I'll never forget that. And everybody got them out of there, and then they dug the plane out of there, and they had to tow the thing wherever because the propeller was all smashed up. But yeah, that's one thing I can remember. But
well, one last thing that happened about that time when they had the what do they call it, the
eclipse,
sun blocked by the moon.
Yeah, the eclipse.
The eclipse. And then after that, we took the 310 and we flew it to check out Mount St. Helens, which had blown up in 1980. We were down whitewater rafting in Oregon, and then heard this big crack in the middle of the morning, and then went to let's see. It's not going to play right.
I think you have to make it small and then hit it. Yeah, then hit your play button.
Yeah, this is going over the Mount St. Helens.
Oh yeah.
Back early when
this is right after the very first eruption.
Yeah, with a year, because they blocked it from flying over it for years, and so anyway, that was the end of 1982.
And then we're the next episode will be getting up into Seattle, getting a Beechcraft Baron, a whole bunch of other stuff. So it'll start changing some things. And there's a little glimpse of the Baron, beautiful airplane, and that's quite the story. The first time you ever landed that up here in Seattle, but
and also the details of getting it.
Oh yeah, yep. So until next time, folks, we'll see ya.